Life sucks, and then you die.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is Roush, and welcome back to week 2. 2? Jeez, this is week 4 of the Pokemon Speedruns Draft League. This is probably one of the latest Pokemon battles that I have ever played in terms of timing. It is currently 12:30 a.m. on the East Coast when I am recording the Team Builder, and almost immediately after I finish recording this, we're going to go ahead and jump into the match with a layout that I haven't even finished preparing, so I don't expect there to be live comm. I kind of want to see if I can get one out, just because I've learned throughout, especially this season, that trying live comms helps me focus. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about my team. As you can see, our opponent for this week is going to be the Newcastle Umbreon, which we will get to in just a minute. So as you can see, our team MVP after last week's battle is still Sir Aaron Big. We don't really have a lot of stuff on the team MVP, but I mean, we're just solidly balanced top to bottom with all of the kills. So, I mean, kind of good, although Zapdos has kind of just been dying. I mean, it's been doing what it's supposed to do. It's been a pivot, it's tanked a couple of hits, and then it's met its unfortunate demise. So Zapdos hasn't really been spreading the damage as much, but it has been kind of helping tie stuff together behind the scenes, which is kind of what Zapdos does. It's not ever going to be, well, I mean, I guess it could be, but this isn't what its role is on the team. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the Newcastle Umbreon and Coach Aberforth. So Aberforth, for those of you who know in the community, is a genius at Ubers, and I believe he is the tier leader of this current gen's iteration of Ubers. So congrats to Aberforth. As you can see, he is 3-0 on the season with 3 kind of close games against, Microsoft and Coach Swift has definitely had a good start to her season. Cyndaquil and the Nido Kings, a very offensive team, and the New England Buttermemes, also very offensive team. But to be able to, but having those as 1-0s, 2-0s, kind of makes you wonder. Aberforth hasn't exactly been dominating. Like, they've just been really close battles. So I'm not entirely sure what to expect of this match and how he's played. I don't have a lot of experience watching Aberforth's battles, so that's just kind of interesting. So what we have to go off of is his team, which is kind of threatening to mine, and it is very fast, and for the most part, fairly powerful. So Mega Diancie is just a huge threat, no matter how you slice it. Weavile, pretty dangerous against balance, even more so against offense. It's kind of an interesting Mon versus me. Victini being an absolute nuke with the V-Create, that's a problem. Galarian Slowbro kind of just is a pivot versus a team like mine. It might not be doing so much, but obviously you can't put him past to bring it. Corviknight is ironically one of the only Mons that I wouldn't expect him to bring. I am ready for it if he does, but versus the team like mine, Corviknight kind of doesn't really do as well. But it can check stuff like Sylveon if I want it to be more offensive. But we'll see. Swampert, very good pivot, water ground type. I actually tried to trade for this during the draft, but we both agreed to go in different directions. So I mean, Swampert's a good pivot, but not entirely a threat to me. It's another one of those kind of passive Mons that, because his only way of healing it is like Healing Wish on Mega Diancie, which kind of is not a good idea for Diancie because it just doesn't have the bulk to really live hits with that HP stat. So, I mean, I expect to be able to pressure the Swampert if it's brought. So it's kind of one of those, I'm not sure whether he'll bring it or not. But it is there, it's good, it sets rocks reliably. His other rock setter is Mega Diancie. I think he's got another one, I can't remember. Pinsir. Pinsir actually sets rocks, but, you know, it's a Pinsir. Ninjask kind of doesn't really do much versus my team. Baton Pass has been nerfed to hell. It doesn't really have the coverage to beat stuff like Zapdos unless it's like Swords Dance Giga Impact, which would be hilarious and I would love it. But Ninjask kind of gets stopped by a good portion of my team. Even Mega Aggron can stop it so easily too. Power Herb Dig isn't doing jack. Mienshao can be a threat. Gotta be very careful around it. It's fast and it hits really hard, especially if it's like reckless high jump kick. So that's something that we have to be very careful for. A Swords Dance boosted hit, just absolutely terrifying. Xurkitree is perhaps the mon that I am the most directly threatened by because he knows how to use Blunder Policy Hypnosis, which versus my team, if he gets it off, it's not gonna look good for me. So we do need to be very cautious of Xurkitree. Eldegoss, kind of just another mon that it doesn't really do much versus my team. It can put something to sleep with Sleep Powder. Otherwise, it just tanks a hit, switches out. It's very interesting to have the Regenerator core of Mienshao, Eldegoss, and Galarian Slowking. They exist. That's what it is. And then Pinsir is the last mon, Hypercutter, Mold Breaker, Moxie. Kind of really doesn't do much, but it exists, and I do need to be wary of it. But yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about my team, and then I will go back, and I think I'm actually going to explain what I think Aberforth will be bringing. So yeah, before we get into my team, speed tiers, once again, my team is really slow. Aberforth's team is really fast. I got to be very, very careful, especially because Weavile has the Ice Shard to deal with my Salamence. So something to have to, again, I have to be careful about. Ironically, Kadabra could be a good bring versus some of his more offensive mons, but would have to be wary that it is outsped by Mega Diancie and, of course, Weavile and Ninjask with their stab moves being super effective. Alright, so anyways, talking about my actual team. So this Sylveon went through 2 iterations. Heal Bell and no Heal Bell. It was Magical Leaf instead of Heal Bell, and then I realized that Swampert really is just Sylveon bait, and why on earth do I need Magical Leaf to beat something that just doesn't beat me anyway? So anyway, Cute Charm is the ability instead of Pixelate, and no Hyper Voice, which is why I'm modest, because I need to kill a Weavile. And Weavile gets Throat Chop, so that's in the back of my mind, which is why we are not Hyper Voice. We are, in fact, Moonblast, so that, yeah, we can't get thrown out by a Throat Chop. But otherwise, this Sylveon can beat up to, if it's Swords Dance Life Orb, G fucking G. But otherwise, the Sylveon should be able to check it. It can tank one Choice Bandit hit. And that the best one is Triple Axle, which can miss because if you're Choice Bandit, you're not holding the Wide Lens. Wide lens? Yeah, I think it's wide. It's wide. It's the lens. Anyway, so yeah, that's the Sylveon. The reason why we're modest. Otherwise, bunch of defense, bunch of HP. Pass Fat Wishes. Yes. Next mon, Sir Arenbig. Filter as the ability. Adamant Nature. A little bit of attack. Try to get some max special defense. That's actually not the spread anymore. I changed it right after I made all of these slides. I improved Nope. I don't think Sir Aaron Big is the one I changed. I don't remember if that's a spread or not. I'll have to double check. But anyways, everything else is the same, besides maybe changing a little bit of the spread. I can't remember. Earthquake, Heavy Slam, Rest, Toxic. Toxic is pretty much only there, like I said, the only way that he can heal status is Mega Diancie. Otherwise, Aggron is free to like spam Earthquake for the most part. Earthquake is the #1 move that it's going to spam because this thing could take 1 hit from a +2 Circuitry. +3, good night. So that's a problem. And Earthquake is a 50% chance to one-shot standard 4 EV 4 EV defense Circuitry. So but if he's bringing it, he's going to be able to put a little more into bulk. Not too much, but a little more into bulk because of Buzzwole. So that is something to keep in mind, is that the Circuitry does need to be very, very fast in order to deal things. So it's probably not going to be as bulky. So Mega Aggron really deals well with stuff like Weavile, even though low kick exists, but can obviously one-shot with a Heavy Slam. Really good against Mega Diancie. Can even tank a critical Earth Power from a max special attack Modest, thanks to that filter ability. So that's kind of nice. And ironically, can still also take a plus, or not a +1. No, it can. Sorry. Thanks to filter, it can in fact take a choice banded We Create from Victini, and after the defense drop, will one-shot with Earthquake up to I think it was like 128 HP is when it stops, or defense, or it was like 104 defense, something like that. It's a roll even at max HP, so it takes a V Create and then is pretty much able to KO with an Earthquake, especially if rocks are in play, which I do plan on bringing rocks this week. Next mon is Zapdos. We're bringing Hurricane because of the Eldegoss, because it exists. Also pretty decent on Swampert, having a Hurricane. I thought about HP Grass, but I felt that Hurricane was just better in general. Again, Sylveon just absolutely, it does whatever it wants around Swampert. So it can heal itself off, it can heal the teammates off. So just like, you know, I don't need to worry too much about Swampert, unless it's Choice Band. That could be a thing. But anyways, this Zapdos, max attack, that's defense. Max defense bold, with just a little smidge into the regular special attack. This does allow me to take V Creates. I do outspeed a Choice Bandit Victini after a V Create, and 2-shot with the Thunderbolt. So V Create Victini can get neutered by the Zapdos. If it's Scarf, I definitely take 2, and I'm able to Roost. So it's good, but I do need to be careful to keep my boots, because Weavile is probably going to want to click Knockoff or Throat Chop. We'll find out. Anyways, next up, Piloswine, Minimoo, Ice Shard, Earthquake, Freeze Dry, Stealth Rock. Freeze Dry is fun. That doesn't look normal. Oh, this is actually the mon I played with the HP and the SpDef spread. Yeah. I don't think that's necessarily correct, but I did maximize my special bulk so that I can take up to a +3 energy ball unless it is belted. So it can take Blunder Policy plus Tail Glow. That's what it can take, and then be able to KO with Earthquake plus Ice Shard. Through a Shuckaberry, I think, is what I did. Circuitry is not very bulky, so that is something to keep in mind. And I am brave nature. Obviously, Ice Shard is there for last second damage. Freeze Dry, the only thing Freeze Dry is there for is the Swampert. It does a massive amount of damage. And then Stealth Rock is there, obviously, to pressure team. This could be a lead. I don't know. Sir Aaron Big could also be a lead, because it pressures almost everything, except for Swampert. But even Swampert, it can just throw a Toxic on which is nice. And then I can go out into Sylveon and do whatever I need to do. So this is an option. I am Brave Nature just to make sure that I maximize the damage with Freeze Dry. If it's Fizdef Swampert, it's a 2-shot. That's cool. And obviously, because it's a special attack, it doesn't get affected by a Scald Burn. That's also fun. Piloswine's there to do 2 things. Set rocks and try and get Chip. That's not the right... That's not the right spread. Yeah, that's not where the EVs are in this muck, but the stats look correct. Anyways, pretty much max HP, but I think it's down to, I think I dropped it down to 411, and then maximize my Spadef, and then I probably dropped my attack off a little bit. Anyways, Adamant Nature, make sure that I maximize my damage with Knockoff and Poison Jab, and Brick Break's there to KO Weavile. Weavile doesn't really want to be staying on Alolan Muck, but it does want to knock off Alolan Muck. That's the thing. So I need to be careful because thanks to Clear Smog, this is my best circuitry check. I need to get that Clear Smog off. If he is Blunder Policy and I'm able to Clear Smog and make him lose his speed, that's nice. But most importantly is that I do, obviously with a Poison Touch, if I knock off or Poison Jab, have the chance to poison, and from there, we can kind of stall it out with Sylveon, but we do need to be very careful. Circuitry is still a big, huge problem, so I do need to be careful of it, and Mienshao is also a problem. Alolan Muck is one of my best checks to it, and that's not necessarily great to say. So Alolan Muck is kind of important, but we do need to be very careful because it can almost be forced to do too much. Last of all, we have Slowking. Flamethrower counter slack off Scald? What is this Slowking doing? What is this? What exactly is going on here? So the HP and defense are specifically tailored to be able to one-shot a Weavile that is trying to click Knockoff on my Culver Berry, and I'm able to KO it with a counter. So that's kind of what I want to do with the Slowking, is counter things. Counter Mienshao, counters the Weavile, Scald Diancie, Scald Xurkitree, Flamethrower Corviknight, Flamethrower Eldegoss too. That's kind of what this Slowking is supposed to do. When it comes time for the actual battle, I'm probably just going to have to pick a sleep fodder, because something is likely going to be going to sleep. So I just need to be careful of that. But anyway, yeah, Slowking is going to attempt to pivot, get a counter off on something, KO a physical attacker. Because there's no fighting immunities either. So U-turn is basically counter bait. So that's nice. So yeah, the Slowking is going to be my best Mienshao check, but obviously something like a Swords Dance Life Orb is going to be a problem with the U-turn, so we do need to be very careful. Anyways, going back and looking at Aberforth's team, I expect the Mega Diancie. I expect it. I expect Victini. It's just really good to try and deal with a kind of the more passive team that mine is. I do expect Swampert, actually. I do expect Swampert. I hope Swampert. I expect Mienshao, and I expect Circuitry. And then any of his potential pivots. Probably Galarian Slowking to kind of tie the team together and keep it moving. So, Mega Diancie, Victini, Galarian Slowking, Swampert, Mienshao, Xurkitree. That is what I expect to show. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get ready for the battle. And here we go. Alright. So, once again, no live comms. And this one was because I actually didn't even have the sprites for Slowking, Galarian, or Mega Diancie. So I was like trying to scramble right at the beginning of the battle to get a layout going. And in the end, I was just like, oh no time. We just gotta get going. So we're gonna go ahead and hop into the battle. This won't take too long because exactly what I predicted in the team preview is going to end up happening. So anyway, I lead with Sir Aaron Big because it has a pretty good matchup against most leads. Corviknight's not really a lead, so not really a fear of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this this turn to go ahead and obviously Mega Evolve and go for the Toxic. So, I went for Heavy Slam? Oh, shoot. Alright, well, it has been a while. So anyway, I'm hurt by the Rocky Helmet, and we exchange rocks for a Toxic. So that's okay. He has no way of curing that Swampert, so it's pretty decently dealt with. I decide to try and take advantage of this, go out into my Zapdos and attempt a Defog against what ends up being I don't remember if that was Bandit Victini or not. I can't remember the calcs off the top of my head. But we get the static hacks, and that is a sign of things to come. There's the Diancie in. I didn't defog the rocks like I should have. I go out into my Piloswine. He Mega Evolves. There's the Diamond Storm. There's a defense boost. That's not great. And there's a Body Press. And yeah, I knew Diancie is a problem, but if he's all physical, Mega Aggron can check it a little bit, so I decided to just go ahead and hard switch back out into Zapdos, because I kind of want to try and get rid of these rocks. So playing aggressive does end up sort of paying off for me, but now I'm Choice Bandit, because he tricks me. That's not great. But the good news is this Victini is indeed paralyzed, so it's not going to be outspeeding anything. But at the same time, I'm not really able to do as much as I please. I do have a two-shot on the or not a two-shot on the Swampert, but I don't know what I'm doing at this point. Now that I don't have Piloswine, I can't get rocks up myself. So I'm not really able to pressure as much as I'd like. So I think my goal is to just try and knock off some items. But, you know, I mean, there's not too much going on here. I killed the Swampert. There's no more helmet, thank goodness. But damage has already been done. In comes the Mega Diancie. I attempt to get a hit off, but he crits. The crit mattered. It did kill. Yeah. It's a start of things to come. So, Scald, I'm actually slower. So, Bolt Strike gets the paralysis. That doesn't really matter. I could switch out Slow King and switch it back in, but at this point, it doesn't matter. The damage has already been done. My best chance is to try and just get some last second damage to the Xurkitree. With the Tail Glow, it's very over. It's very over. So we're just gonna watch the Xurkitree finish cleaning up, and that's gonna be the game. I don't know. This team was not withstanding Victini Diancie pressure, and then an endgame Xurkitree was always going to win. I quite frankly don't know how I could have gotten around it. So if we meet in playoffs, there is something that I'm going to have to work on. I don't know what it is. But what happened, and we're just going to go ahead and move on to the next week. This was just an absolutely brutal matchup, as I've been saying the entire time. Xurkitree is a really good Pokemon. I enjoyed it the season that I did get to use it. I didn't use it probably as much as I could have, but I had a monster of a team that season. After the game, we took a look, Aberforth and I sat in a voice call, and we were talking about things, and I didn't realize where Circuitry was on the tiering list. It was a 9-point mon. It was cheaper than a bunch of things that it is significantly better than. So I don't know. I mean, obviously bank error in your favor, but that was an oopsie doodle. But Circuitry is a really good Pokemon, and Aberforth is a really good player. So with that, Aberforth moves to 4-0 on the season. He is one of 2 undefeated teams left in the league. It's him and Amaranth. So my last 2 weeks, I lost to undefeated peoples. And spoiler alert, Amaranth did win this week too. So, I mean, this is just, it's a battle. So we're going to go ahead and move past this and go on to next week. And hopefully we don't know our matchup yet. So there is that. But Aberforth and Amaranth are... It's a pity. I wish I could show more battles, because that's going to be the one to watch for next week. But anyways, I will see you guys later. Roush is out. Peace.